Real Disney podcast contains language not suitable for children, and in some cases, most adults. This show and its hosts have no affiliation with Disney. They are just perfectly normal adults who grew up watching Disney, just like you. Listener discretion is advised.
The picture that every newspaper and magazine critic is raving about. Hear what the usually hard-boiled review of Time magazine says. Snow White is as exciting as a Western, as funny as a haywire comedy. It combines the classic idiom of folklore drama with rollicking comic strip humor. It is an authentic masterpiece, created by Walt Disney and his staff of artists. The most daring adventure in the history of motion pictures.
All right, welcome to the first edition, episode 1 of the Real Disney podcast. I'm Tom, here with
Sandy.
And tonight we got our guest here, Brian. You can catch him on Twitter at PagMega, Paggmega. We're going to start running down all the Disney full-length animated features. We're going to review 1 or 2 a month, put them up for you. And, of course, we're going to start at the beginning with Snow White. So here is a little clip from Snow White.
All alone, my pet?
Why, yes, I am, but...
The little men are not here?
No, they're not.
Making pies?
Yes, gooseberry pies.
It's apple pies that make the men folks' mouths water.
All right, so you want to jump into the history right here? Or what kind of stuff did you find online?
Well, it was adapted from the Grimm's Fairy Tales.
All right.
What year was it released?
The movie?
Yeah.
37 was the premiere, but I think it was like late 37, so I think officially it probably hit everywhere in 1938, if I remember correctly.
It's the first feature full length. It was the first movie to use multiple panes of drawings.
Right.
So that they could draw a little more depth into the...
Make it look more like a real person dancing around and stuff. Make it look more like a real movie, yeah. Well, so up till then, we're saying up to you're more of the expert here on this. You're saying up till then it was all short features. Any cartoon was short form. Okay. And
it was mostly it was a new thing to have a whole storyline, because usually it was just a little comedic relief.
Right.
Short little 15-minute.
Like comic strips almost, but
yeah.
Like dancing comic strips.
Yeah.
So this is the movie that really, they made the money to build their studio, right?
Yeah, but Walt had to put in all the money himself.
So it's a big gamble.
It was like $1.5 million he ended up putting in of his own money.
Yeah.
That he had to lease out things and...
So what's that like? Like, what do we compare that to today? Like, what big risk? They don't really do that in Hollywood anymore.
No. It's
kind of whatever's tried and true and whatever they know they can make their money back on.
Yeah, they don't take risks very much anymore at all.
So, history. Do you guys have any idea how much this made total when it was in theaters?
Back then?
I think, let's just go, total.
Oh, I don't know.
Because I know it's been re-released and stuff, right?
It was the first one re-released in theaters.
I think it said something like originally when it was in theaters it made like 1.5 million.
No, that's what he put into it.
What did it make? Do you know?
Like 80.
Wow. Well, that's
that might be the whole total.
Yeah.
But it was the highest grossing movie until Gone with the Wind was released ever.
All right, so you guys want to jump into the review here? Brian, we have a little segment for Brian. He's going to tell us why his favorite dwarf is his favorite, and you guys can kind of try and guess which one that's going to be. But all right, so let's talk about the movie. What do you guys think? What do you think of Snow White, Sandy?
I'm probably be shot down, but this is not my favorite.
It doesn't hold up.
It may have been. It's a classic. You have to look at it that way, but I hate her voice.
Yeah, it's like
I can't stand that voice.
Nobody sings like that. Like Like, are you underwater? What's going on?
She has one of those bird plastic whistles.
Did you hear though? Like, what's that girl's name that did the voice?
Her name is Adriana.
Adriana or something like
Adriana.
that. You know, did you hear that? Like, they had her on contract that to keep that special, they weren't like she couldn't do anything else.
What?
Yeah, I read
did
that.
not know that. That's crazy.
I know, and look how much money they made off that.
That poor girl's like, dang.
And she probably didn't get paid anything to do that.
I get anything.
But
I don't know. It's got this storybook lead in,
Yeah.
so you get a little bit of the character's backstory.
yeah,
And then it just kind of dives into it.
yeah.
I guess
think
they didn't want to spend a ton of time with a backstory.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place story-wise, but I think that the dwarfs and some of the songs, and that's about all I care about with this movie.
My favorite is the one where they're washing their faces.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I feel like I was singing that the rest of the day. I'm not going to do the noise, though. That would sound crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I guess nowadays, like, no wonder women were like, I have to get married. And the first guy they met, that's the guy they're going to marry because...
Yeah, there's not really a love story here.
No,
It's like,
if they meet once,
yeah.
and then he comes back again and kisses her.
So what was that? What was the in the fairy tale? Was it a lot of the love story, or was it more just about?
It was more about. Well, first she was 7 years old in the fairy tale. So
Ooh,
when the
okay, I like where you're going.
so when the
Little pedophilia. Here.
when the mirror first tells the stepmother that she's not the fairest in the land, there's somebody else. The
Yeah.
little girl is 7.
Wow.
And she sends out
So she's
her
already
servant
like
to go
this
and kill
little
her.
whore, 7 years old, trying to come up in my. I run this.
Yeah.
So
it was,
you think the fairy tale? I know we're going to jump into like some of the, recent dealings with Snow White and what it influenced. But do you think that the recent release, with everybody's favorite enthusiastic actress, Kristen Stewart, do you think that is more like along the lines? Because I know the Huntsman, he's a big deal, right, in the fairy tale. No.
Where
does that come from?
I think somebody just played it up for that movie.
Really?
The queen being as evil as she is,
It's more accurate.
It's more accurate because she tries to kill her 3 times.
Yeah.
In the book.
But this imagery is like ingrained in our brains, like that face and
Disney did a good job of.
Yeah, because there is when you're a kid, there is something creepy about this movie.
Well, yeah, especially even like on the ride.
Yeah,
I'd freak out. That witch came on the screen as the old lady, and I would be completely scared. And I don't know, maybe that's why I don't really like it very much.
You're still scared. You can admit it.
Now I'm still like, I don't like the lady.
She's
I'm
gonna
watching
get
in the dark.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. This is definitely not my favorite, but you have to admire what they did, and I still watch it every once in a while.
Yeah.
The kids still like it. Seems like. So, I
did find it interesting. It seems like in that movie, it's like women should be doing the cleaning and the cooking.
Well, let's all just agree right now. That's true. Right?
I
Thank you.
That is true.
Thank you.
That's...
I mean, you're not going to get us on your side with that argument.
No.
So.
But in the fairy tale, their house is clean. It's like spotless, and their table is set for dinner. And she comes in, and it's almost like Goldilocks. She tries different chairs, she tries different spoons, she tries different beds before she picks one to fall asleep in.
Now, let's say you're in the woods, okay, and you see this little tiny house, and you go in there and you see, what do you think is going on in there? You think there's a creeper who built a house in the woods. He's got all this tiny furniture. He lures children in. Yeah.
But it was more acceptable at that time. It really was.
We saw the Angelina Jolie movie where they get all them kids. That's a similar situation here. But I don't know, like Snow White, she goes right in. No hesitance.
No questions. But those animals are helping her out.
Can we agree then that she's stupid? Like, can we say, what would you guess? Where do you put her IQ? Right? Average is what, 115?
She can't be that smart. She's not getting any education. She's the maid.
She's a dumb farm girl.
She's a dumb farmer. Yeah. So
And she's not really a princess.
really,
Yeah.
but is she recognized? Like you see her on all the memorabilia, all this.
She's a princess
Walmart.
after she marries a prince.
Yeah, she's considered a Disney princess.
She's a Disney princess,
became-
but in the story, she's not a princess.
Is that cheating? They do that a lot. It seems like.
That they're a princess after they marry the prince?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Or
can't
like some of
think-
them aren't even princesses, right? Let's run it.
Well,
like-
the Princess and the Frog, she wasn't a princess.
right. And is the girl from Brave a princess in the movie?
Yes.
I don't know if she's actually a princess. Her dad's not a king. He's just like the head of the clan.
They have a lot of. Oh, he was racist.
No.
You're saying
It's like, what?
this is shocking news. Disney
They were
has
after,
a movie.
They were after that black bear.
You're right.
It does make
Well,
sense.
it's traumatic. You know, it's a traumatic experience. You're attacked by this huge black bear. You know, and every time you see a black bear, you walk on the other side of the street. It's understandable. So you're saying
I also think that they left violence out. I
there's
noticed-
violence, a lot of violence in the fairy tale?
Yes.
Well, because the Grimm
lot
fairy
more.
tales are usually pretty gothic. And,
Yeah, but I mean, like Dopey would run into something and you wouldn't see him run into it. You would just hear the little sound effect and like
Yeah.
maybe stuff flying around, but you would never see him actually hit anything.
Well, you know the thing about
Which I
Dopey
wonder is something
is
to do-
he was supposed to talk originally.
Yeah.
And Mel Blanc was going to be, or
And they
Mel
didn't
Blanc,
like
I don't
his
know
voice.
how. I say Blanc because I think of Matt LeBlanc because, let's face it, Joey was the sexiest friend. I mean, yeah, Monica is, I would marry Monica, but if we're talking about who's the sexiest friend, we're going to have to say Joey Tribbiani.
That makes sense because Joey would in fact be the Dopey of the dwarves anyway.
Yep, there you go.
So there's
See,
there
it's
you
all
go.
full circle. So
And why aren't they rich?
Circle of life.
why aren't the,
Why
yeah,
aren't they like filthy rich?
What
They're
are
mining
they doing?
diamonds and
Yeah.
emeralds and rubies.
people in Africa are losing their hands right now.
And the dwarves
Okay.
wouldn't give up their money.
And they have just as much money as the dwarves, who can just freely get diamonds.
All those precious gems, and they had that shitty little shack in the woods.
Yeah, why
You
can't
guys,
they each have their own house?
Get your
too?
own house. Live in a mushroom.
That's
I don't care. But why are you guys all bunking up together?
Maybe
It's crazy.
More of a bathhouse in the woods, and that's another podcast. I guess.
Except for Bashful, right? Because he clearly had a thing for Snow White. He
He
wanted
did
some
have
of that.
the thing. So did Dopey though, because he ran through to get a kiss 3 times.
Yeah. Or,
Grumpy, he kind of.
all right, here, let's get into it.
Well-
You're going to bring up Grumpy, Sandy? Right off the bat, we're going to bring up Grumpy. All right, let's get into it. Brian, who's the best dwarf? Go ahead, tell him.
It is Grumpy
Okay, why?
because Grumpy stayed true to himself.
He's like, oh, this bitch charming you guys, but I ain't buying
He
it.
wasn't falling for bullshit. Like he kept it real,
At one point in time, he started to fall for it, and then
and he's the only one that was still grumpy. He was angry. He hated everything.
That's
In
right.
the magic kingdom of Disney,
You
That's
live in a
true.
magical
was
world where the animals
I
know
see-
this girl,
but that
and
was
he
strange too.
still's not happy.
He's
the animals just like whatever.
I
Yeah,
see
there's-
through the bullshit.
He knows what's going on. Now, some of you guys out here saying Dopey's the best because,
He's
everybody loves the village idiot, right?
I mean, he had a lot.
But Brian's here to tell you, yeah, okay, Doc's the ringleader. We get it. But Brian's here to tell you that doesn't matter to him.
No.
Because at the end of the day, Grumpy is the only one
He
who
stayed.
puts bros before hoes.
He did. He stayed true.
Now,
True to himself.
when she leaves the dwarves, she kisses all of them except
I don't know.
Grumpy, right?
No, I think she does
No.
kiss him, and that's when he kind of starts to turn like, ooh, I
does.
kind of
All right,
like
let's
her.
look it up.
He blushes,
We're gonna.
but I'm
And
pretty
then he
sure.
turns around and gets all gruff.
We have a tool on this podcast that not a lot of people at home probably have. We will turn to Google. It's google.com. If you guys don't know about Google, it's google.com. You go there, you just type in what you say, like which dwarf didn't get kissed. And this thing will just bring up information, guys, from all over the world. Which dwarf? Now listen to someone Google is good radio.
Don't worry about it.
Get kissed. I know this happened because I noticed it. I'm like, oh, there was something going on there. Like they hooked up. She's pissed. Something.
No, I don't believe that.
See, Grumpy was smart enough to realize that she just kissed 6 other dudes.
He's like, Yeah,
It was like,
that's what I need working in the mine. My lungs are bad enough. I'm gonna get mono.
He's a lonely little woodsman, so yes, he was happy that there was some female interaction there, but then he quickly realized that he wasn't the only one. It wasn't even a matter of sloppy seconds. Like, he was down the line.
He's like, I'm not even third.
Yeah.
We're at a gangbang. I'm the last dude.
Right.
I don't think so. Okay, if you watch closely, you will notice that after Snow White is awakened by the prince's kiss, she kisses 6 of the dwarfs goodbye. She does not kiss. Guesses. Brian?
Doc.
Engineer Brandon?
No, I'm gonna say Sleepy. I'm gonna change it to Sleepy because
Sleepy?
he was probably passed
Oh,
out.
okay.
Yeah, I'll put it.
All right, Sandy?
I'm gonna go Sneezy.
She didn't want to catch a cold?
Yeah,
That's your theory?
that's what I'm saying. He
That's
had
your
the
theory?
mono she was spreading around.
He's patient 0. It was Sleepy.
Yeah.
She doesn't kiss Sleepy.
He was too busy shooting up in the back to really give a shit about.
I thought you meant when she's at their house and they're all going to the mine for the day. She kisses all of them.
When she's awakened, she's leaving. Okay, now,
That's the same as in the Grimm's fairy tale.
Brandon brings up a good point. Engineer Brandon here brings up a good point. What are some of the rejected names for the dwarves?
Oh, I knew
You guys
these.
know any of them?
The lovable 7 dwarfs. Let Walt Disney tell you about them himself.
Dwarfs' names fit their personalities. This pompous-looking individual is Doc, the self-appointed leader of the group. And this little fellow is Bashful. He's secretly in love with Snow White. And this funny face is Sneezy. He has hay fever. And old Droopy Eyes is called Sleepy. And Happy here with the beaming smile. And old Sourpuss here is Grumpy, the woman hater. And last but not least is Dopey. He's nice, but sort of silly.
Oh, I did know these.
Shorty?
Shorty?
No, that's not a real one.
I
That
was
would have
like,
been...
what?
But back then, you could have gotten away with it. You could have been midgety back then, and they wouldn't have said anything.
I'm pretty sure you could have used the N word for one of them. And they
Oh,
wouldn't have
we're
said
not talking
anything.
about Walt Disney's personal life right now. We're just...
Smoky.
Just kidding. I love Walt.
They
He's my
did
hero.
do a little blackface in the mine, though, didn't they?
Right.
They
That might have been
did?
where it originated.
I could be wrong.
They come out dirty.
Yeah.
All right, so you ready? Here's some rejected names. Jaunty.
What does that mean?
That sounds like a rapper.
A little jaunty.
See,
It's jaunty right here.
I immediately think that he's yellow and he has jaundice because
Jaundice.
of the lack of sun because of being in the mine all day.
Aren't sea shanties usually pretty jaunty?
Jaunt. This is a jaunty beer. Okay, Blabby.
Blabby.
Maybe they were gonna have one that talked a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe that was Dopey originally, like because he was supposed to talk, right?
And then they just decided
Dirty. Oh, dirty. Oh, dirty bastard.
with 2 R's.
That's where
With 2 R's.
dirty girl.
One backwards.
He'd been all on Snow White, like, girl, you know I'm dirty. Won't you clean me up, girl? I'm dirty. Gabby, that's just like,
That's Blabby.
that's every girl, like,
These are
it's
girls.
a girl's name, Gabby. Biggie Wiggy. Oh,
Shut up.
Biggie
Biggie
Wiggy.
Wiggy.
You know he had a perm? Biggie Wiggy.
I would love to see some of the art for some of these.
I know. Gaspy. That's kind of stupid.
that he would be fat.
He just walks around going,
Gloomy. Well, grumpy.
Grumpy's gloomy.
Awful.
He's the awful
He's
dwarf.
just awful. Deefy.
What?
Is that supposed to say Deafy?
Maybe it's dead.
It's Deefy. Deefy.
Deefy.
Is that how you spell Deafy? Hoppy Jumpy.
Poppy Jumpy.
Now this is when they weren't going to have a heroin addict. It was going to be a crackhead.
Right.
Hey, you guys see Snow White? Speaking of white, who got that crack?
He'd constantly sell the pickaxes.
He's like, look.
That's why they're not rich.
We finding these rocks down here. I don't know what's up with these rocks, but when I smoke them,
He'd sell the shovels and the pickaxe. He'd pawn them.
I straight up get hoppy jumpy up here.
Doc would have to go back and get everything out of the pawn shop.
Oh my god.
That's why they're broke.
It's like Requiem for when a Dream when they keep haunting the
Yeah,
mom's
the same TV.
The same, like, back again. Don't
Oh,
worry, my mom
shit.
will be back with $20 next week.
My mom will come buy her own TV back.
Again.
Shame on you, Jared Leto. I don't care how great of an actor you are. Okay, you do not sell your mom's TV over and over, Jared Leto. If you hear this, because I know you're going to listen to this because you love Snow White, and you hear this, shame on you for stealing your mom's TV in that movie. And Marlon Wayans, you let him do it.
If only he would have stayed in jail. He could not have ruined G.I. Joe later on.
Oh.
It hurts.
Don't get Brian going on G.I. Joe, guys.
Cuts deep.
All right, Hotsy. What does that mean?
Good looking.
Well, they were going to have a female, but they were like, people weren't cool with lesbian stuff back then. Like, that would have been... It would have been Bridget the Midget in the real life version. She Bridget the Midget plays it. They call me Hotsy.
Well, in that case, I have seen the reverse
Yeah,
Snow White parody.
that's the other thing I want
where-
to say, Sandy. You were like, we're going to do a podcast on Snow White. I'm not that familiar with Snow White. I look it up online, and I see something called Snow White XXX. So I'm thinking, oh, this is it. It's so good, you know. This is like the 30th. What would that be? A 3X's.
Right.
The 30th edition.
Yeah, it's
30-year anniversary. I'm going to watch
uncut.
this. I start watching this. It's not even uncut. What is that like? That's like the Protestant version. Uncut. The Roman Catholic version. But I start watching it. It's not even animated. I mean, the people are animated. Don't get me wrong. But all of a sudden, people are just doing it in this movie, and I'm like, this can't be the right Snow White. I downloaded the wrong Snow White. But not to say I wouldn't give that one a high rating. It was good.
How many tissues did you give?
Out of 5, it's a 3.5.
It's 0.5.
I used half a tissue on the last thing. You know, just what's left.
Yeah, you know.
And you want to get the lotion off your fingers. Everybody. All right, Nifty. What?
Nifty?
That must have been a thing back then.
Well,
Like
that
nowadays, it would
that
be,
was a word
I'm
back
epic
then.
dwarf or something.
That was a word.
Guys, that
back,
was
like,
epic.
Nifty. I've heard old people say
Yeah,
nifty.
that's nifty. Shifty. Now, we all know, I mean,
These are some shady characters.
Warning. There will be some controversial statements on this podcast. That was anti-Semitism, guys. All right? I'm glad they didn't do that because I don't agree with it.
Well, if it was thrifty, then it would have been the Jew. Then they would have the Jew.
Yeah, but you know how Walt was. You know Walt. He was looking at me like,
Jewy.
that was like Jewy. That was like, that's, you know, it was like it was like Chewbacca.
Yeah.
It was like a hairy dwarf. He hung out with
the
a guy in a
big beard.
vest. Okay, what else? What other fun facts about this movie?
It made $8 million, not 80.
I'm 80. I'm like, dang, dude, they're like putting Spider-Man to shame.
Like that back then.
So Walt thought of this when he was 15 to make this into a movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So he had worked on it a long time. His wife, she thought it was gonna bomb. Like, she wasn't stoked about
That's
it.
nice.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people were.
It's always good to be supported.
Because they all
right?
thought that he was...
You guys are, Brian, you're married, right? To someone I'm familiar with. Happens to be my blood related sister.
Yeah.
But we all know, you know, sometimes these women, they don't back you up. Engineer Brandon knows. Happens to be the husband of Sandy. He knows. Sometimes these women, they won't back you up. So how good did it feel to Walt, right? This movie opens up, and it's, I mean, we're talking about Gone with the Wind money. He comes home, right, from the premiere, and he's like, girl, what you got to say to me? Because I know them panties wet after tonight. I done brought in $1.5 million, and it's 1938. But that's pretty messed up. She thought it would bomb. But, I mean, it is kind of weird to think somebody would want to go sit for, you know, like an hour and a half at least. And
Well, it doesn't even run that long.
83 minutes.
83 minutes.
Is it that long?
83 minutes.
So, now.
I do think that Snow White was dumb now that I think about it more. Because they all warn her, don't talk to strangers, don't let anyone in the house, don't talk to anybody. And then that's the first thing she does when they leave.
Yeah.
Right.
She's wide-eyed, you know, kind of.
Oh, look at this nice old lady.
I mean, he didn't say it, but even Dopey's like, stranger danger, bitch.
Yeah. You know about that, right?
It's like, even I don't talk to people.
But the thing about Snow White, like, then it's the same thing about all hot girls. If you're that hot, you're going to be a little stupid. I mean, not 100% of the time. Okay, don't email and tweet us and be like, you guys are, you don't like beautiful women. We love beautiful women, but they're not all the sharpest tools in the shed. To quote a very, very legendary band. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I'm calling it right now. You will see Smash Mouth. All right, so here's that story I was talking about. 19-year-old Adriana Castellati voiced Snow White. Walt wanted to keep Snow White's voice special, so he held Adriana to a very strict contract, and she was never allowed to perform on stage or in film.
Wow.
Right?
I wonder, she probably got paid like $1,000.
Oh, she couldn't have been much, yeah.
She probably thought that was so much
And
money.
it wasn't even in a day where, like, now if she were alive, she'd go to all the conventions, and she's the voice of Snow White. She could at least make up some money after getting screwed over like that. But
well, I wonder if she got to perform, like, at Disneyland or anything.
I don't know about that. I know that
they let her dress as Snow White.
Yeah.
She was an actual character that worked there.
She can. But she can't perform on stage.
She did the pancake breakfast once a week, and
she did have an uncredited voiceover in The Wizard of Oz. When the Tin Man sings, "If I Only Had a Heart," she is the voice that says, "Wherefore art thou, Romeo?"
Oh, interesting.
And I'm sure that paid a lot of money, so probably no hard feelings for her.
And did you notice that? I don't know if it's just the era, but they didn't have regular credits. It was not a single person that was in the movie that voiced anything. It was all animators and music.
Yeah, it was uncredited back then. Voice acting was like not even respected. Yeah, Brian, this is a news story that I think when I looked it up, I thought to myself, if Brian's guesting on this episode, he's going to be really happy to hear that this was one of Hitler's favorite movies, guys. Yeah.
That's scary.
Now, what doesn't compute in my brain, like you have, maybe the worst person of all time.
I'm like,
the Real Disney Podcast is not responsible for any statements made by Brian Paganici. Tweet him at PagMega, PAGGMEGA, and you can send your complaints to him. Go ahead.
The guy was a little extreme. Yes. In no way am I defending his actions.
He's totally kidding. He's kidding.
But I mean...
No, we are not pro-Hitler. We're kidding around. We're joking around.
But it was his favorite movie.
But he did. He owned a copy of it. And he would screen it in his movie theater.
That's crazy.
It doesn't help the, whole anti-Semite thing.
Yeah.
Walt Disney's image,
That does not help. Because maybe there's some stuff we're not picking up on. Like we know Shifty didn't make it, but something's in there that he latched on.
There's an unmarked grave somewhere with Shifty and Dewey and Blackie, and they're just.
Yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't something like that because things were so blatantly racist. Like there would have been a Blackie dwarf.
Who's to say that there still wasn't a full-size black man that was their butler of the Seven Dwarfs?
True, they probably wrote it out. All right, so that is nothing to do with the movie, most of it, but we did enjoy the movie, and I'm going to say out of 5 stars, I'm going to give it a little extra for being so innovative. I'm going to, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's nostalgic. You watch it, and maybe you don't enjoy it like but you could say that about a lot of old cinema, you know what I mean? So I'm going to say, with all that in mind, even though it's not my favorite, I'm still going to say it's a 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah?
Just like your tissue rating.
Yes. Very similar in more ways than I care to speak of right now. All right, what are you saying here, Brian? Lean in. Let us hear it.
Now that I know that Hitler was such a fan...
Does that bump it up half a star?
It does. So it probably gives it a solid 3 now.
Oh, is that a 3? Okay.
I have trouble with a lot of the old Disney anyways because it's wholesome and I'm not.
Yeah.
And I really have troubles watching a lot of the old Disney.
I'm the cheeser, love Disney, love all that And even with that, I'll say it's just something. I mean, you just couldn't. I think it's just due to the times. You know what I mean? They did the best they could. And what are you saying, Sandy? What do you think?
I think I gave it a 3.
The 3. So you guys are at a 3.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
There's not a lot about it that just.
It's not one that you even see a lot of girls like watching it over and over. Like Jovi doesn't ever say anything like she wants to watch Snow White. It's
right.
Never... So, all right.
So the next one is Pinocchio.
Pinocchio came next. All right, but let's talk a little bit about like what it influenced. Right, you got the ride at the original Snow White's scary adventures. I like that ride.
Snow White's only in it, I think, once.
Yeah. But it's kind of all similar to
all...
that whole Scary Woods because it seemed like that would have been a bigger deal.
It's because they wanted the dark rides that
you
have inside and not outside.
You can hide everything.
Where it all came from. And that kind of stuff. So I don't know. That ride scared me when I was little.
Was that? Does anybody know that? Was that an opening day ride?
I don't think so.
No.
I think a lot of Disneyland was just like the train and a couple other little Frontierland kind of more took the cake back then.
Yeah. It was
Davy
more
Crockett
generic
and all that kind of stuff, but not really Fantasyland so far because
it wasn't real character based, I guess, because they didn't have really a repertoire.
Not a lot.
Now, what about this new ride? Have you seen anything on it? That's going to be at Disney World.
Watched a point of view.
Yeah.
From somebody, and it's a roller coaster.
So it's open?
It's roller coaster opened in May. It opened just a
week
ago, yeah.
Because we're recording this.
It's the
May 2014. It's
the Dwarves Mine roller coaster.
What's the name of it? It's like Haunted. Let's look it up because everybody's going to be out there listening and like.
You
guys don't know anything about Disney.
It was a pretty cool looking ride. I mean, it kind of goes slow at first, then you end up going through the mine and seeing all the jewels and all the different dwarves working and things, and then all of a sudden it just takes off and goes a little faster. Kind of reminded me of Big Thunder Mountain.
Okay.
When I watched it.
So it's outdoor.
Yeah.
Fast ride. It's called the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. And I'm looking at a picture. Yeah, it does look kind of similar to that. It's kind of got a mountain theme. It's like looks like those little, carts you use to get the gems out.
Yeah, they all have the mining cars.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That
Seven
cool.
Dwarves and Train are in the same title. Makes me
harkens back to that original when we downloaded the wrong movie.
Yeah, because that's very similar to flashbacks.
Oh man. Okay, so princess wise, let's do some comparison here. Let's do some. You know what, Sandy? Let's do some F, Marry, Kills on this.
Oh no.
We're gonna go there. We're gonna say Snow White. We'll go OG. We'll go Sleeping Beauty and Cinderella. I'm gonna go last. I want to hear what you guys have to say, Sandy.
So
you're getting down and dirty with one of them.
That's Sleeping Beauty.
You're marrying
Cinderella.
You're marrying Cinderella,
right.
And you're killing Snow White.
Yeah, because Cinderella is so much better at the housework.
Okay.
And she's got all those mice that sew and things like that. I'll take that. And the magic bippity boppity.
Okay. That's fair.
So I'm on the same. I would say that's the same, because with Sleeping Beauty, if you don't kiss her, she doesn't wake up.
You like that.
So,
you need some time. You want to get on eBay. You want to play some Xbox.
There's that too, but she could never say that she's just like not feeling it that night.
Oh, so you're thinking like, you're straight up, this is date rape for you.
What? I mean... It's not
on a date.
Is it a date if she doesn't know it's a date?
It's a date. Oh man. Okay.
And Cinderella comes from she's a servant. So
you're marrying Cinderella.
She will cook and clean without question.
So you're going same. Right. Okay.
I will beat her with her glass slipper.
All right. I'm gonna shake it up here, guys.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to sleep with Snow White.
Well, get in line.
You know I like a brunette.
But you're behind 7 other little dudes.
You guys, the key word there. Little. Dwarf. Okay? I'm getting to territories. I'm going where no man has gone before because I'm going after the dwarfs.
Well, so would she technically still be a virgin?
Well, the extra inches of the cavity are going to be for me. You know, it's not a hymen, but I'll take it.
So you're the eighth minor.
Where them jewels at? Where them jewels at? Okay, so I'm going to sleep with Snow White. I'm going to marry Cinderella because Cinderella is straight up hot, and you're right. She does do some.
She knows her place.
I mean, she's a blonde. You know, we got a blonde who's intelligent and humble, and probably has the best figure of these three. I would say. You know, she got that Barbie unrealistic build, and then I'm gonna kill Sleeping Beauty because I don't even hardly remember Aurora. Like I mean,
that's because she's hardly in the movie.
Yeah,
she's on life support.
I don't know that much about her. Right. And because it's a matter of just pulling the plug, and it's easy. But I don't want to have to murder. Right, I want to just pull the plug.
It's because I know you don't like eating vegetables, and that's where that comes into play.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, a pussy eating pun. Okay, I'm just gonna say a pussy eating pun on this podcast about a child's movie. Oh,
keeping it real for Disney.
Yeah, I mean, this. We never said this was for children. Okay, grown-ups like these movies. There's some Disney freaks out there.
Disney's for all.
Okay, there's various types of Disney fans, right? There's the sad, unattractive, older person. No, Sandy, I'm not talking about you. There's people all, our age. We got, we remember that stuff growing up. We would go to Disneyland as a kid. It was magical, that kind of stuff. And then, for some reason, Asian tourists, they love it. They love Disneyland. And I don't blame them one bit. Okay, let's get off track. We're done with Snow White. You guys know what we think of it. We didn't talk too much about, the other, movies, right? Like, the Kristen Stewart. What did you guys think of that movie?
Well, because it was Kristen Stewart, I didn't watch it.
I'm going to say something crazy. I'm going to say something crazy right now. Like, I would say I would put Kristen Stewart on my top 5.
Yeah.
I know that she always just looks so annoyed to be alive and stuff like that, but she's really attractive.
So not top 5 best actresses.
No, I'm talking
top 5
about
best looking.
Yeah, looks.
Okay.
No, not actress.
I liked that movie.
Not that she's a bad actress. I've seen her in things where she's good.
Yeah, I've seen her in stuff
she
too. She's
emotes
good.
As much as Sleeping Beauty does
Yes.
throughout the movie, and
She should have played Sleeping Beauty. You're right. She should have
Beauty
played Sleeping Beauty.
and
Robert Pattinson could have been.
Stewart.
That's fun. Now, what about Chris Hemsworth though? The Huntsman.
It's a good-looking man.
No homo. That's
No
a
homo.
That's a good-looking guy.
Maybe a little, but no homo.
Maybe like 20% homo. But it was good. I liked it all right. That movie was okay. I haven't seen it in a little bit, but I remember thinking it was all right.
I just
Charlize
couldn't bring myself
Theron
to do
was
it.
good in it.
Yeah.
She was creepy.
Is that what else has there been kind of influenced by this? They haven't done any bad Disney straight-to-video sequels,
No.
which is weird. Maybe this one's kind of like
think so.
special.
I think it's because it was the first one, and if they tried to do anything else, it would just
It's
be.
so long ago.
But we want to know what happened.
There's not as much merchandising either for that one.
Yeah. Well,
I
we
mean-
want to know about the divorce, though. The inevitable
it work?
divorce. That should be the sequel.
What? The
Just
divorce?
what happened to them after. They didn't know each other. But of course,
No, they didn't.
that's the thing, though, here. Like, okay, Snow White kind of set that precedent, right? Where, like, it's
Yeah,
just
but-
a woman who needs a man. He comes along. He's the hero. They barely know each other. But originally, the Prince Charming guy had a bigger part. It was supposed to have a bigger part. They didn't have time or money to develop that.
Yeah.
So maybe we would have gotten to know him. We would have seen them kind of fall in love. But it's funny that because they didn't have time or money for that,
That's
now
kind of
that
the-
was subsequently what almost
Yeah.
every other princess story was like.
Yeah. Well, in
You
the
barely
in the
knew the
fairy tale,
guys.
he's only in the end.
Wow.
She never meets him before he comes and sees her in the glass coffin, and so he's only at the end, and he wants to buy her from the dwarves.
Wants to buy her?
He wants to buy her.
Wow.
Remember, she's 7.
Oh man, this is dark, Sandy.
he
Tell us some
wanted
more about this.
He wanted to take her home, so it took the
Hey, pass me them tissues real quick.
Aw.
No, but this is dark though.
No,
She was 7 years old.
She was 7 years old. She found a dwarf's house.
Where was she doing in the woods by herself?
The servant took her out there to kill her, and the guy couldn't do it.
The huntsman.
The huntsman.
That's his role.
But, yeah. He
Okay.
takes her out into the woods just like in the movie to kill her, and he can't do it. And so he goes back to the witch. And
He just
she
leaves her.
Leaves her in the woods.
Okay, so
it's the same kind of thing. Scary woods,
Okay.
strange things happening,
Yeah.
and then she happens upon the dwarf's house. And that's why she goes in, because she's scared.
that makes more sense. Like in the movie, you're like, what's going on here?
Yeah, that's what happened. He left her. And then the witch tries 3 times to kill her.
Huh.
The first time she comes, she has new...
So the witch in the story, that's her stepmom?
I keep saying witch, but it's a stepmom. And yeah,
Yeah.
she transforms herself just like in the movie too, so that she won't know who she is.
Yeah, similar to that, like Charlize Theron kind of.
Yeah. And so she tries to take her some new ties to tie up the back of her dress. And she ties them too tight where she's trying to suffocate her before the dwarves get back home. But they get back home early and untie her so then
Whoa.
she can breathe again.
This is like an AMC show.
And then she brings her poison combs for her hair. And as soon as she uses the comb,
Yeah.
it makes her pass out. And I
Whoa.
forget what brings her back from that. They took the comb out of her hair.
And what is
The
she?
dwarf
Why is she
did.
dancing around it? Like why can't she just like
Because
kill
every
her
time then
with
she
a
goes,
sword or something?
I guess she wants it to look natural.
Because she's accountable to someone. We don't say anything about her dad, right? You don't hear anything about her.
He's dead.
Okay.
Her real mom died
So, like
right
the-
after she had her.
Because forensics was so advanced.
Yeah.
back then,
It was.
Yeah.
It had to look like natural causes.
Natural causes. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why.
But
she
there's
was
a
trying all
lot
these
of
wicked
that, you know.
spells.
There's a-
Where David Caruso comes in,
Yeah.
takes off his glasses. Horatio.
I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Poison apple, that is. And he starts over-explaining it.
And then the Who plays.
We don't have the rights to that.
That's why I didn't sing it on key. I didn't not sing it on key because I'm a horrible singer, like you might think. I didn't sing it on key on purpose, so we
On
didn't get sued.
purpose.
I had a random, all this talk of Snow White. I don't remember why, but we had, like in 6th grade, we had to write a story about, we had an assignment about writing something, and for whatever, I wrote my version of my take on Snow White. I wrote it up as a police report.
Really?
I like that.
I just remember, I wrote it up as a police report, which she had
A missing child.
She had broke into the house.
Oh, B&E.
And then,
Yeah,
you know,
she totally
and-
did
and
break
she,
in the
She
house.
thrashed the place. I mean, she fucked the place up. And
Yeah.
then, you know, the dwarves had her, they had her taken away and had to, cause she, yeah, I just remembered that.
That's funny. These 7 short homosexual men, all living in this house, are devastated by the destruction you did, young lady.
All right.
But so 7 years old in the story, that's murder.
Well, it ends with
Child
the poison
murder.
apple. She takes one bite of the apple and falls to the floor.
Like
The
Casey
dwarves-
Anthony, that
the
whole story. We've all heard about that.
The
Happy Mother's
dwarves
Day.
come home and they think she's dead, and they built her a glass coffin because she's so beautiful.
They want to look at her, but
They
she's-
wanna look at her
I
the
guess they
whole
don't know
time.
about decomposition back then.
I guess not. I
Because
don't
do
know.
dwarves live forever?
Well, they don't have souls, so it's possible.
Well,
I don't know much about dwarves,
yeah. So what's
especially
the?
mining ones.
But they obviously didn't think that she was gonna wither away.
Yeah, they thought her beauty would last forever.
So they must be.
like,
I think that is proof that dwarves are.
so she was like gonna be like the Stalin of
Yeah.
of the Disney World.
Just leave her there
Just leave.
Why
her on
why
display.
don't they have Walt's head like somewhere we can look at it?
because they don't want you to know he's still alive.
I heard
somewhere.
like I listened to Howard Stern
just-
back in the day when. Did
They
you guys
it
ever
for
hear?
Ted Williams? Why not have?
Who was it? It was I think it was Ted Williams where they were like somebody that worked at the cryogenic place called into Howard Stern and was like, they worked there like a cleaning crew or something,
Right.
and that people didn't really like take care of the head that well, and that like somehow like a tuna can had been frozen onto it or
This
something
sounds like
weird.
something from Futurama.
This is yeah, but no, like for real, the person
Was it Philip Fry that called in?
I wish I could do an impression. I would do it. I can't do that voice. But yeah, that's weird. So I wonder where Walt's head is. Do we know?
I don't know.
Or is it his whole body?
I don't think he's really cryogenically frozen. I think that's
You think that's a myth?
I think it's a myth. I really do. I think it's a myth.
Yeah. I hope it is, because it would be cool to bring him back if they ever get that, because dude had some cool ideas.
I would take
I don't know
that.
what he was smoking, but I want some.
He was smoking something because that's how he died.
Oh, for real?
He died of lung cancer. Just shortly after Mary Poppins.
Oh,
was
yeah,
in
cancer.
theaters.
I thought you meant like overdose. I'm like, Sandy, you know some insider stuff.
Yeah, I know stuff from the inside.
Mary Poppins killed Walt Disney.
Yes,
Yep.
that woman did.
Man, that was a good. We'll get to that one. Well, what are we just doing? Animated?
Right now, yeah, we
Okay.
can switch it up, I guess. But
Yeah.
I want to get through some of the old ones that
Yeah,
most people
some of
haven't
the
seen.
classics. I haven't watched a lot of those in a while. I remember really liking Pinocchio.
I haven't seen that in forever, so it's gonna be like a whole new movie to me.
All right, well, so we were gonna get off on a Disney tangent here, maybe if you guys want to.
What's that?
We're fans, right? You like Disney,
I like Disney.
yeah. I mean, you don't like a lot of, you know.
Like I said, the older stuff
wholesome.
is too wholesome for me,
Yeah.
and I tend to laugh at a lot of the inappropriate moments.
What do you think about all these conspiracies where there's hidden stuff? I guess as we get to those movies, we'll cover that. But there's nothing with Snow White that we're
Not
that
that
you
I
know
know
of.
of.
That
No.
was before the animators
Yeah.
knew that they could really just kind
They
of
could
slip
put
those
whatever they
subliminal
wanted in.
things there.
Well, it would have been so hard back then. You would have had to draw it on like 34 different those
Right.
clear sheets. P-E-N-I-S.
Flip the page and draw
Yeah.
it again, and flip the page.
I
and
don't
it
want to draw
again.
penis anymore. So, all right, well, that kind of sums up for Snow White. 3.5 here. Brian says 3. Sandy agrees with the 3. And so we've learned a lot today. We talked about Hitler, pedophilia, murder, and a wholesome animated Disney movie. Thank you for joining us on the Real Disney Podcast, and we will probably have like a Tumblr and a Bandcamp here pretty soon. We're kind of working on all that, and but you can catch us all personally on Twitter. I'm at Tommy Duncan. Brian, of course, I said is Pagmega, P-A-G-G.
I really don't know what my Twitter
You don't
is
remember?
right now. No, it's been so long since I've
It
been
might
on
be
there.
like Sand Hopkins or something like that.
Maybe.
S-A-N-D
Yeah, I'd have to
Hopkins.
look. I don't remember.
But yeah, we need
Pretty
to.
lame.
We're gonna work on some of that stuff. Getting it out there for you guys, and hopefully someone will hear this and like it, and keep listening. We'll get some more stuff up for you. We'll see you next time.